This is the GRILLS Wood Pellet Smoker Grill. After spending some time with it, I thought it might be helpful to share what I've noticed so far. I bought this because I wanted something that could hold a steady temp without me babysitting a fire all day. I've used charcoal grills and a basic propane grill for years, and I love the flavor you can get. But I don't love hovering over vents, chasing temperatures, or realizing I'm out of fuel halfway through a longer cook. With this pellet grill, the main difference is the routine. I fill the hopper with pellets, set a temperature on the digital controller, and it basically runs itself. It's not magic or anything. It's just a different style of cooking, more like using an outdoor oven that also makes smoke. Setup took me a bit. It wasn't confusing, just time-consuming, lining things up, tightening everything down, making sure it sits level. I'd say it's very doable, but I wouldn't want to do it alone if you can avoid it, because the main body is awkward to handle. Once it's built, it feels solid enough for regular backyard use. The stainless lid is the part I notice most day to day because it holds heat better than I expected, especially when the weather isn't perfect. The cooking space is a big reason I keep using it. It's 697 square inches total, and in real life that means I can do a full packer brisket without playing Tetris, or a couple racks of ribs with room left for sides. The upper rack actually gets used at my place, mostly for keeping things warm or cooking smaller stuff that I don't want right over the main heat. When I'm doing burgers or chicken thighs for a group, I'm not forced to cook in waves like I was on my smaller grill. Temperature control is the whole point with a pellet grill, and overall it's been steady for me. I usually cook around 225 to 275 for ribs, pork shoulder, stuff like that. It holds close enough that I'm not stressing about it every 10 minutes. If I open the lid a lot, it takes a moment to recover, which is normal. I had that worry before buying. Is it actually going to keep the temp, or am I going to fight it? For my normal cooks, it's been pretty hands-off once it's running. I still use a separate instant read thermometer because I'm picky, but I'm not constantly chasing the grill temperature. One thing I noticed early on is that the smoke level is a little lighter than what I get on a stick burner or even charcoal with wood chunks. The food still comes out with smoke flavor, just not that heavy punch unless I run it lower for longer. When I want more smoke on something like ribs, I'll start it at a lower temp for a while, then bump it up later. That's just how I've adapted. If you're the type of person who wants a really strong smoke profile every time, I think that's something to think about before you buy. The hopper holds about 20 pounds, and that's been enough for my longer cooks without me worrying. I've done an overnight pork shoulder and didn't have to get up to refill. Pellet usage depends on temperature and weather, but in general, I'm not burning through bags as fast as I thought I would. I also like that I can glance at the pellets and get a sense of where I'm at, because running out mid-cook is one of those annoying problems you only need to experience once. Daily use is simple. I turn it on, set the temp, and wait for it to get settled. It does take a little time to preheat compared to just cranking a propane grill. On the high end, it'll cook hot enough for things like chicken with crispy skin, roasting vegetables, baking, that kind of stuff. For searing steaks, I'm going to be honest, I don't use it as my main sear tool. It can do it in a pinch, but it's not the same as ripping hot charcoal or a dedicated sear burner. When I want that hard sear, I still reach for my cast iron or charcoal. Cleanup is the part I like the least. The grates are manageable, no big deal. The grease setup works, but you do have to keep an eye on it and not bump things when you're moving around. The ash is where it gets annoying. On this model, I end up taking out the grates and the inside plates every so often and vacuuming it out. It's not hard, it's just a chore. And if you ignore it too long, you can tell it needs attention. If you're used to a grill where you just scrape and walk away, this is a little more involved. Moving it around is doable with the wheels, but it's still a sizable piece of equipment. I can roll it on my patio without thinking about it. If I'm dragging it through grass, I feel the weight. I mostly keep it in one spot and just cover it. Compared to other pellet grills I've cooked on at friends' houses, this one feels straightforward. Some models have Wi-Fi stuff and apps and extra features. I personally don't care, because once I'm cooking, I'm usually nearby anyway. What matters more to me is whether it holds temp and whether it's big enough to be useful, and it checks those boxes. So, who is this actually good for? I think it makes sense for someone who likes smoked food and low and slow cooking but doesn't want the constant fire management. If you host people, the capacity helps. If you mainly cook quick weeknight meals and you want fast, high-heat searing, a pellet grill in general might feel slower than what you're used to. I use this when I have time and I want consistent results, and I use other tools when I want speed. If you're on the fence, my honest take is, if you want steady temps, a good amount of space, and a pretty simple routine, this grill has been easy to live with. Just go in knowing you'll be doing some vacuuming for ash, and you might still want another option for hard searing. If you've got questions you want me to answer based on what I've actually cooked on it, leave them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.